Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing, my Rohingya brother and sister? Today I come in front of you with a special program from WR News in English. I am Abdul Hai. This program is intended for the international viewers and those diaspora educated Rohingya who regularly watch our WR News. I have invited today one of our senior Rohingya leader, Mr. Mohiuddin, the president of World Rohingya Organization WRO, based in United States of America. We will discuss today some important issue of the Rohingya people, and I hope the viewers will listen and put feedback in the comment box. First of all, I would like to welcome and thank Mr. Mohiuddin to our DVR News YouTube channel to give time and interview. To start our interview, I would like to request you to introduce yourself to the viewers in short. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Most gracious, most merciful. Peace and blessing of Almighty Allah be upon our great Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his families, his companions, and all those who follow him until the day of judgment. I am a Rohingya, and I would like to greet all of the viewers with Islamic tradition. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace, blessing, and mercy be upon all of you. I am Muhammad Yusuf Mohiuddin. I am a Rohingya. I was born in Sitwe, Aikyab, in Amlafara, Arakan State, Burma. And then 45 years ago, I left my hometown. And since then, I'm in the overseas. I have been engaged in the resistance movement against the brutal Myanmar military forces. And then migrated to the America under the refugee resettlement program 20 years ago. Since then, I have been engaged in this movement, and I am now running an organization in the name of World Rohingya Organization, registered in New York City, United States of America. I am the president of World Rohingya Organization, and I'm also a voluntary goodwill ambassador and advocate of the Arakan resistance group fighting against the Burmese military junta and brutal forces, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA. I am also an advisor of the ARSA. So, the short point, I would like to introduce myself as a humanitarian, political, and social activist of the Rohingya people. This is my short introduction to the viewer.
Thank you to introduce yourself, Janab Mr. Mohiuddin Saab. My first question is, what is your opinion and analysis on the current situation of Rohingya?
Thank you very much for your questions. But first of all, I would like to thank you and the team of members of the DVR for giving me this interview opportunity to address some issues of the Rohingya people through your great channel. This is the special program, as you said, in English for the international viewers and those educated elite of the Rohingyas and those Rohingyas in diaspora who know English. Thank you again. Your question is that what is the current situation of the Rohingya people? This is a great question. To say frankly, actually, the situation of the Rohingya now is not only bad, it is becoming day by day from worse to worse. Now, we the Rohingyas who are living in Arakan State, Burma, at the brink of elimination and extermination, and we are victims of genocide, and we are facing from the current Myanmar military and all those misguided a section of the xenophobic ultranationalists and extremists, our fellow countrymen, Rakhine people. We don't mean that all Rakhine Moks are enemies of the Rohingyas, but there are some elements collaborating with the Burmese military junta. So the situation of the Rohingya people, we are a population comprising 4.5 million people. The Burmese military junta and those collaborators in the last 70 years with a pre-planned, premeditated design successfully eliminated, wiped out the Rohingya population from the soil of Arakan, the ancestral homeland of Rohingya people. Now 4 million Rohingyas are scattered all over the world, living as refugees and displaced persons in very hard condition. Only 600,000 Rohingyas are now in their motherland. They are also victims of genocide, and the genocide is still going on. Even though there was an ICJ provisional measure emergency order to stop genocide, the Rohingyas are victims of still genocide, suffering persecutions, and also having a lot of problems. Nothing is stopped. Still today, 140,000 Rohingyas in the capital city, city, they are living in human condition, under the sky, like the prisoners in their homeland, in the concentration camps. And also the other Rohingyas living scattered all over Arakan, they are also having a lot of problem. The Rohingyas being compelled, they are escaping their homeland still today by boats to other neighboring countries and other places still today because of the persecution continuation. So the situation of Rohingyas have not changed. Even though there was discussion in the United Nations Security Council, UN General Assembly, and in the International Court of Justice and ICC, Argentine, everywhere, the Rohingya case is there. After 70 years, the international community realized Rohingyas are the victims of genocide. If we plan, design that successive Burmese military and civilian governments, they have intent to destroy the whole Rohingya community, which is defined according to the UN Charter and United Nations laws as genocide. More than 28 military operations were carried on to compel the Rohingya people to escape persecutions to the neighboring Bangladesh, and from there they were scattered all over the world. Now only a portion left, 600,000 in 17 townships of Arakan state. So even though the world community and the big powers are trying to help and restore the citizenship of the Rohingyas and to stop persecutions, still today nothing happened. Just a little bit mitigation and operation happening because of the ICJ provisional emergency order. So still nearly 1,100,000, 1.1 million Rohingyas are languishing in hardship in Bangladesh refugee camps. And also those living scattered in many other countries, they are also suffering. The solution is not yet found. They have Bangladesh government and also Myanmar agreed for repatriation, but never implemented because of their pre-plan not to accept any condition, that is security of life and compensation and placement of their original places and giving them their citizenship back with a guarantee that there will be no more genocide or persecution. So in this situation, the condition of the Rohingyas are very serious, and even though the world powers, international community, and particularly OIC and the Gambian government case of Rohingyas genocide in the ICJ going on, practically nothing changed on the ground. So to say in short, the Rohingya situation is very, 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 very serious and matter of concern. And we want the world community and the United Nations to come forward to save the Rohingya people and to stop genocide. And as well as it's needed that the Rohingya people need to rise up and stand and to face all kind of atrocities and challenges with all available means, including the resistance movement on the basis of UN charters, international laws of the right of self-determination of the people, and self-defense as we are victims of genocide. This is in brief the worsening condition of the Rohingya people who are at the brink of collapse, extermination, and facing existential threat on the soil of their forefathers in our ancestral homeland.
Thank you for your response. Now, my second question is, currently some media groups are circulating a news that ARSA was involved in the murder case of Rohingya community leader in camp Mr. Mohibullah. I want to request you to explain what do you know about this and what is the motive of this media propaganda.
There is some media speculations that a community leader of the Rohingya, Mr. Mohibullah, was killed by unknown assassins, killers, murderers. And recently in some newspapers and media, there was a news that in the murder of Master Mohibullah, Arakan Rohingya Salvation ARSA was behind it. And even who reported this matter to AFP, the France-based news agency, Ghazi Shahidullah, he said ARSA commander Ataullah Abu Amar Janoni ordered it. These two sentences making a lot of misunderstanding among the Rohingya people and international community. So regarding this matter, this is a misinformation, a fabricated news, and ARSA is not in any form related to this finding. Actually, when Master Mohibullah was murdered, and the second day, even though his brother claimed that ARSA was behind that, when he put a case in the Kutupalong Ukia police station, he never mentioned that ARSA was behind it. He did not take the name of the ARSA, and there is no ARSA name on the charge sheet. And Bangladesh law enforcing agencies in Cox's Bazar and Ukia and Kutupalong, they clearly said that no Rohingya Salvation Army, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army members are on the ground in the refugee camp. Even Bangladesh Honorable Home Minister Asad Zaman, and also Bangladesh Foreign Minister, His Excellency Momin Saab, they have clearly announced that there is no Rohingya terrorists, there is no any Rohingya Salvation Army members in the refugee camps and also on the soil of Bangladesh. They have all information, that's why. Rohingya Salvation Army fighting for the restoration of the rights of Rohingyas, fighting for the defense of the Rohingyas, fighting against the Burmese brutal military junta forces who are carrying on genocide. They are inside Arakan. They are not in Bangladesh. How they can come crossing over the border and challenging all the law enforcing agencies along the border side of Bangladesh, VDR, intelligence forces, police, and the camp in charges. How they can come and kill a person who is in Bangladesh refugee camps. So it is not acceptable. But on the basis of the information circulating in the media and many newspapers that Ghazi Shahidullah said Bangladesh government now under the custody, there are 15 members suspected of participation in the killing of the Mr Mohibullah. In 15 members, 4 persons confessed, according to Ghazi Shahidullah, that the murder of Mr Mohibullah was ordered by the leader of Rohingya Salvation Army, who met on 27 of September, and they planned it. And they participated in the killing. This is not acceptable because those 4 members, those 4 persons, they are not related to Rohingya Salvation Army. They were never members of Rohingya Salvation Army. Actually, one of them among the 4 persons has been for many years in Cox's Bazar's jail, and most of these 4 persons, they are engaged in many anti-ARSA activities, and they have committed crimes and violence in the refugee camp, hijacking, killing, murdering, yaba trading, many kinds of activities they have carried out. So now, these people who are not connected with ARSA, they said something that can distribute and tarnish the image of Rohingya Salvation Army, who are heroes and defenders of the Rohingya people. They are fighting for the Rohingya people. They are not fighting to kill the Rohingya people. And all those who claim that all activities, violence, gang rape, kidnapping, hijacking, that is happening, murdering, and the refugee camps are carried on by those miscreants who are now related to ARSA. And whenever they were arrested, they say they claim is or they are from Rohingya Salvation Army. That is their way of confession to get less punishment. So the confession, which is actually not the reality, but 4% among the 15% confessed according to the police report. This should go to the court for final decision. So this is not decision. In the laws in Bangladesh, laws and orders, a person or a group is innocent until it is proven guilty. But still today, Bangladesh court has not decided or not announced that ARSA or ARSA leaders murdered Mr Mohibullah. That was a mere just report that the police are investigating and they found some people, they confessed. Maybe their confession be a temptation to get released or to lessen the, or maybe some people bribe them or some people force them so that they make false confession. So the court will decide what is right and what is wrong. We believe in the law enforcing agencies in Bangladesh, and we also believe in the justice system of Bangladesh. So we have to wait. But taking this wrong information or fabricated media reports, we cannot blame Arakan Salvation Army. So this is very important things to understand. Arakan Salvation Army leader Abu Ammar Januni Attaullah has already given televised interview in Jamuna TV in Bangladesh. He repeatedly denounced and refused and denied that ARSA did not commit this murder or they are not behind this assassination. Arakan Salvation Army also issued 3 statements in which, in first one, they condemned the killing of the Rohingya community leader, Mr Mohibullah, and expressed heartfelt condolences for the death and murder of Mr Mohibullah and expressed their sharing of the sorrows with the family members of the Mr Mohibullah. And second time, third time, they have repeatedly refused and denied all claims made by some activists who said ARSA is behind the murder. So again and again they came forward to the media and they posted in their Twitter about this, that Arakan Salvation Army did not participate in any kind of murder of the Mr Mohibullah. Arakan Salvation Army said Mr Mohibullah was doing the same thing that ARSA is doing, the safe and dignified return of the Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh to Myanmar and for the repatriation. They both are doing the same. So there is no any way that they kill each other. It is completely wrong, fabricated, and fake. On the basis of our available information and investigations, there is a group of Burmese collaborators and agents in Bangladesh refugee camp and overseas who are working to destroy the most important part of the Rohingya people, defenders of the Rohingya people, heroes of the Rohingya people, freedom fighters of the Rohingya people, Arakan Salvation Army. This is a conspiracy, nothing. So I want to inform the international community members of the NGOs and international bodies and government that Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army is a nationalist movement, ethno-nationalist movement, a faith-based movement fighting against the Burmese military junta and brutal forces on the soil of Arakan, Burma. Still today, there is no Rohingya ARSA members in Bangladesh refugee camp. Bangladesh government and law enforcement agencies repeatedly expressed their finding. So after a long time, this conspiracy and some activists among the Rohingya people who are misguided and became instrumental of the Burmese government and the intelligence department to destroy Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, to extinguish the resistant spirit so that they get some worldly benefits. And unfortunately, some NGOs, they use some Rohingya activists, and also they are trying to distribute and tarnish the image of Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. We are very sorry to let you know that some of the Rohingyas issuing and publishing joint statement against the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and labeling them as miscreants and terrorists. This is very bad as a Rohingya. Recently, some activists living in the overseas, in America and Europe and Asian countries, and some refugee camps, they are trying to distribute Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. They want the social media and international media group that can propaganda against Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. Their motive is, and their motive was that they have an ulterior motive. They tried best through propaganda against the ARSA in the international media to portray it as a terrorist organization, because they expect the OIC conference in Pakistan, Karachi, on the date of 19, 20, and 21, issue a statement against Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, which is not possible because only media circulation is not enough to make a statement. That's why I want to tell all my friends and activists and comrades who claim serving the Rohingya cause, fighting for the rights of the Rohingyas in Arakan state and Burma, not to involve and not to indulge in any activities that is harmful for our resistance movement in Arakan state, Burma, fighting against the tyrannical Burmese brutal military forces. It is a pride for the Rohingya people, and we all have to support this movement. This movement, resistance force, the freedom fighters under the commander-in-chief of the Ataullah Bomar Januni is a symbol of bravery, who are fighting and challenging the enemies with available means, even though very less resource of material. We are proud of this resistance movement against the genociders. This is very important for us. We have to remember that when our resistance forces were gone from the forests and jungles of Miu territory, this genocide and persecution of the Rohingyas in the name of religious fanaticism occurred. The Muslim pilgrimages were murdered. A false and fabricated rape case, mass adultery occurred. On the basis of this, the genocide in full started. Now, the world is fully aware of the genocidal intents of the Myanmar Burmese government and its brutal security forces, which has been investigated, and most of the countries they came to realize that there was real intent to destroy the whole Rohingya community by the successive military, civilian, and semi-civilian government of the Union of Burma. Alhamdulillah, thanks to the government of Gambia and also the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, who brought the case of the Rohingya genocide to the International Court of Justice. We are very much thankful to the Gambian government, particularly the strong advocate of the Rohingya genocide, Abu Bakr Tambado, who I met 2-3 times. And also the OIC and member countries who supported the case in ICJ and still helping ICJ Rohingya genocide case. We are also very much proud and thankful to the government of Bangladesh, particularly the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who has given shelter to millions of Rohingyas in Bangladesh camp. And Sheikh Hasina and the Bangladesh government who brought the case to International Criminal Court. And the ICC is now investigating the case. And also we are thankful to those guys and members of Burma's WRO UK, Burmese Rohingya Organization of UK, for the case against genociders in Argentina court under the Universal Jurisdiction, Universal Declaration of Human Rights jurisdiction. They are doing their best, but on the ground, the situation is worsening day by day. So it is time that all Rohingyas, disregarding their misunderstanding and hostilities, internal clashes, they must have to unite. Because we have seen in the last 70 years, we have no option except to fight against the enemies for the survival. So we need to unify ourselves, all Rohingyas, diaspora in scattered many countries of the world, to come together and find a solution to defend our oppressed Rohingya people and for the rights of return to our ancestral homeland, Arakan, Burma. So instead of instigating the Rohingya public against ARSA, those freedom fighters fighting for our survival, we should have to help and establish it, and we have to fill up any mistakes and correct it if we think it is going wrong. But still today, ARSA has not committed any violence and crime against civilians. Still today, the ARKA Rohingya Salvation Army did not rape a single Buddhist or other religious minority, girls, women. They did not kill one single Tanga monk. They did not destroy any property of the civilian people of the non-Rohingyas. They did not destroy any pagodas or monasteries. So they are not terrorists. Still, the world did not find a point that we can claim a symbol of terrorism or violence. How the Rohingyas dare to label ARKA Rohingya Salvation Army that they are terrorists? It's wrong. So coming back to my main question, the media circulation and media propaganda against the ARSA without any justification and final decision of the court of the Bangladesh cannot be taken as authentic. We need to investigate more in detail, and ARSA also wants to punish the culprits in the strongest term who killed Mr Mohibullah. So what I want to convey to the world media and the international community that ARSA is not behind the killing of Mr Mohibullah. This is the only message I would like to convey to the world media and social media group and Facebook and bloggers and international newspapers. Please help the Rohingya people, not trying to distribute and tarnish the image of only a limited force of the Rohingyas freedom fighters who are fighting in the jungle and forests against the Burmese military junta brutal forces. They are defenders of the Rohingya people. They are heroes of the Rohingya people. We salute them. Everybody should salute them because they dare to stand against injustice, to stand against big military forces, because they are the real patriotic heroes. They dare to do it. They do it. They can do it because even though they have limited and lack of resources, they are Muslims and they believe in Almighty God, Allah. They believe, they have faith. This is a faith-based organization guided by the laws of the religion. In Islam, there is no violence. They do not allow to kill civilians. So this is a guided organizations and resistance movement by religious scholars. So they do not let murdering, rape, robbery, killing, kidnapping, hijacking, not allowed in ARSA. Not allowed in ARSA to treat to do yaba business, to deal with the drug dealers, to carry drug dealers' item. ARSA doesn't accept it and they don't allow it. But unfortunately, some among the Rohingyas who are doing this kind of business, when they are being caught, they confess and say, we are ARSA. I am ARSA. I am doing this for ARSA. So this is nothing but they are making false confession. So I would like to say, in short, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army is not a part in any form, in any way, in the killing, murder, and assassination of the Master Mohibullah, who we respect as a leader. He was a community leader. He was trying hard for the return, for the repatriation of the Rohingya refugees. He's mostly admired by all Rohingyas. When he came to America and met former President Donald Trump, so we respect him, and ARSA respect him. The Rohingya people, they respect him. But unfortunately, the collaborators and agents of the Burmese intelligence Myanmar government managed to kill this Rohingya leader. We need to find out it. Who are behind that? The time will come and the truth will prevail. That's why the media circulation against the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army with the short report of the Ghazi Shahidullah in the international media, that is their finding. They reported each as they found the confession of the 4 persons among 15 persons. That means this is not the final decision. We cannot say, we cannot take it granted that ARSA was behind this assassination. This is the short information I know so far on the basis of available information from the border. I want to convey to the world community members and the Rohingya diaspora, educated, elite activists, that to abstain from any kind of fake news that can destroy or disrepute or tarnish the image of our Rohingya Salvation. We are proud of you. We want all Rohingya leaders, Rohingya activists, Rohingya religious scholars, ulama, and Hufas, and students, and the youths, and the all other Rohingya activists, resistance forces members to come and join or to wage resistance movement on the basis of self-defense, on the basis of United Nations Charter of Right of Self-Determination of a people. We have every right to safeguard ourselves, to save our mothers and sisters, to save our children, to save our land. We have every right as a survivor or victims of genocide. Thank you very much.
I express my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to your honor for your taking time for the interview of the DVR News. Again, I am very much thankful to you for your kind and truthful explanation and clearance of the real facts. And my third question is, do you believe that anti-ARSA media propaganda will successful and harm or block the future activities of ARSA?
Thank you very much.
জি
Yeah.
বেশা বেশি শুকরিয়া অনতরা নেই মহল্লা জি জি বেশা বেশি শুকরিয়া আই অনরে আরেকবার শুকরিয়া করি অনে জিন সই সাথে সুন্দর করি ক্লিয়ার করি ওরে সই মা বলা কি দি হ্যাঁ ওরে সাফ করি ওরে দুনিয়ারে দেখাই দিও এই আনাল্লাহ অনেক বেশা বেশি শুকরিয়া আর আর তেসরা নম্বরের সওয়াল হইদি আরসার মিডিয়া প্রপাগান্ডা এন্টি আরসার মিডিয়া প্রপাগান্ডা জিবা আছে ইবা কামিয়াব হইব না আর রোহিঙ্গা অকললা আরসাল্লাহ বলি ওরা হাজ করি ওরে হনক কথা মুশকিলাত হবো না আর আরসার লড়া সরা মন তুন ইয়ান ওর বন ও বনে ইয়ান অনেক বিশ্বাস জমে
Thank you very much again for your third question. You asked that the anti-social media and anti-propaganda. Thank you very much for your third question. You asked whether the media propaganda, anti-ARSA conspiracy will be successful or not. It is a question also very important, but to the best of my knowledge and analysis, it will not be successful because it is not right. The enemies of the Rohingyas, they are trying to harm, to stop, to block the activities of our Rohingya Salvation Army, who are freedom fighters of the Rohingyas. And they are living, they are struggling, they are fighting inside Arakan. So until and unless they are determined to die and accept the martyrdom and to fight back the enemies, the brutal forces of Myanmar military junta, they are on the right path. So all those guys, all those evil forces trying to distribute and destroy our Rohingya Salvation Army will not be successful to portray ARSA as a terrorist organization. They will never be successful because the world knows. The world, because it is a small village now, global village. Who is doing what? They know. What Arakan army is doing, what ARSA is doing, what other insurgents groups in Burma are doing. They know it and they know everything. So still today, nobody, no country except Myanmar and its 17 or 18 friendly countries. Most of the world countries in the United Nations, there are 193 countries. They don't believe ARSA is a terrorist organization because they know. Yes, they have not available material, arms and ammunition, but they are fighting with whatever they have, having found faith in Almighty God who created them, who commanded to face the enemies and the oppressor. They are doing according to the international laws. They are victims of genocide. They are facing existential threat. And they know 4 million Rohingyas were ousted already. So they have the rights to return their own country. 1.1 million in Bangladesh refugee camps. And others scattered all over the world. So they have not a place to go back except their country. So they must have to fight. And fighting is the only option to bring the world public opinion in their favor, to bring the decision of the ICJ, to bring the justice of the ICC, because Burmese government and its brutal military forces are violating all articles of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They are violating the UN Chapter, the law, that is protection and prevention of genocide. So when they are fighting for the right cause, they are fighting the same way. The entire Burmese population, now they are fighting against the Burmese military junta. The National Unity Government, the CRPH, the CDM, the insurgents group, all are fighting against the Myanmar military junta and brutal forces. When they carried on genocide against the Rohingya people, they don't believe. The Burmese population and other ethnic minorities, they didn't believe it, but they're believing now. What kind of brutal government and the military and Tamador is in Myanmar, led by Myanmar. So a handful of people who became the instrumental and collaborators of the Burmese government and spy agencies and intelligence department, they are trying to distribute, to destroy, to block, to stop the real motive of the freedom fighters of the ARSA. They cannot win. It cannot be successful until and unless there is a single freedom fighters under the commander-in-chief of the Hafiz Ataullah Muhammad Januni, they will not stop. They will fight back until death and accept martyrdom. And they will increase day by day. We are not hiding. We are open like other insurgents. We are ready to fight back. We need help. Help from neighboring countries, international communities, America, and European and Asian countries to defend ourselves, to fight back against the tyranny. So I 100% believe the conspiracy and evil activities carried on by some Rohingya activists and agents of Burmese military intelligence will be failure and their efforts will be in vain. This is the answer that you asked. Thank you.
I express my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to your honor for your taking time for the interview of DVR News. Here is my fourth question. I am asking not for me but for the entire Rohingya population. Would you please explain a little bit about the forthcoming Rohingya repatriation from Bangladesh to Burma?
Yes, it is also a very important question about the repatriation of the Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh to Burma. It is a matter of great concern that Burmese civilian government, previously led by Aung San Suu Kyi, and now Myanmar military junta, both are the same. They are not willing to take back all the Rohingya refugees. Actually, we are not the Rohingya refugees. We were compelled to take refuge in Bangladesh, our Rohingya people. They were forcefully pushed back to Bangladesh border. Burmese government says almost 700,000 refugees came to Bangladesh. Actually, since the previous refugee exodus, the people who did not return, who were not able to return, they all added plus newborn. According to the UNHCR calculation and registration, now there are 1.1 million Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh camp. Current Burmese military junta government and previous government, both they make accusations that there are no 1.1 million Rohingya refugees. They accept only 600,000 Rohingya refugees. They don't take the names. They say Burma, illegal Bengali, who were living in Arakan for many, many years, the residents of Arakan, Muslims, they were they were in Bangladesh refugee camps due to clearance operations carried on against insurgents group. The repatriation is very important, and Bangladesh government and Myanmar Burmese government, they made few agreement for repatriation, but they do not accept the terms and conditions and demands of the Rohingya refugees who want to go on voluntary basis with the guarantee of their citizenship, their security, and their rehabilitation. With this kind of demands, Burma is not willing to take it back. Burma wants them to go back with NVC, National Verification Card. That means as foreigners. That's why the repatriation were not successful. Now, at the 11th hours, to get international recognition, the Me Online led military government is trying to accept some hundred or thousands of Rohingyas, 700 families to 7,000 Rohingyas, not in the name of Rohingyas, in the name of Muslim, they are ready to take back. Actually, this is nothing but a conspiracy to lie to the world. Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA, they have one of the main objective is the repatriation of Bangladesh refugees, but
জি জি হারিয়ে
actually, oh yeah, actually, Burmese government led by me online, military government is not willing to take all Rohingya refugees on the basis of the demand of the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh camp. They want them to go back as foreigners, accepting NVC, National Verification Card, as foreigners to apply again for naturalization or citizenship. So now they came to an agreement with Bangladesh and UNHCR that 700 families to 7,000 Rohingya families will be taken as they have been verified the residents of the Arakan, Burma. Without any kind of guarantee of life, liberty, and justice, without the citizenship, without the guarantee of the security and compensation and rehabilitation on their own lands and villages, the refugees are not willing to go. But some Rohingyas are ready to go because some collaborators are working to go back without any terms and conditions. In this situation, the Rohingya repatriation process will not be successful because it is a very complex matter. All 1.1 million Rohingya refugees must be accepted without condition as they are citizens of Burma. Their citizenship card seized by Burmese government. That's why they have no proper documents to prove. So Burmese government must accept all Rohingya refugees without verification. It is very important. And it is not going to happen easily because they have no intention to accept all Rohingya people. They have no intention to accept the Rohingyas in their ethnic identity name. They don't want to accept all of them as citizens of Burma, Myanmar. So it is not going to be a solution just to return to the hell for another genocidal activities to become the victims of genocide. We support repatriation. Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army's one of the main objectives is the repatriation of all Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh refugee camp to Burma. They are not only demanding the return of this 1.1 million, they are demanding the return of all displaced Rohingyas living scattered all over the world. Everybody who are Rohingyas, they have the rights of return to their homeland. So the repatriation of the Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh to Myanmar is not easy because Burma is reluctant and there are more hidden forces trying to block the return of the refugees. We will request Bangladesh government to launch aggressive diplomatic offensive and to ask OIC and other countries to put strong pressure to the Burmese military government to accept all Rohingyas with dignity and honor, with their rights of return.
Ono not tigi mama. Ne tigi. Ya ibu.
So there must be condition in Arakan and especially in Mount Abutidau and Ratidau that the Rohingyas should go back there voluntarily. According to the report submitted by Thomas S. Andrew, in his report, he said the ground situation of Arakan is not yet suitable to return the refugees. So it is clear that Burmese government is trying knowingly and technically that the Rohingya cannot go. International level, they are playing different way and practically they are not ready to take the Rohingya. We want that international community, United Nations, and other European countries and the America, Asian countries put heavy pressure, more pressure to the junta, Myanmar government to accept all Rohingyas without any kind of question and condition. Thank you.
Many thanks to you, sir, for your time and passion addressing some important issues of the Rohingya. My last and final question is, what is your message to the world overseas Rohingya in the Homeland ARAKAN and ARSA?
Thank you very much for this request and question again. My message to the Rohingya population scattered all over the world and inside Arakan is only one. I have request. The continuation of genocide will not stop, and they will never accept the Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh, all 1.1 million, and those scattered all over the world. We are almost 4 million people. Burma is not ready to accept this Rohingya refugees and displaced persons in Bangladesh camps and in the overseas. Just they are playing games that they are ready to accept Rohingya refugees. So my message to the Rohingya people is that in the last 70 years, we have tried our best in political ways, in the resistance movement, through the resistance movement, we did our best part. Now, the world powers, especially United Nations, ICC, all are trying their best for the Rohingya people. But Burma is still not accepting. Even they are not ready to recognize or accept the word Rohingya, the ethnic identity name of the Rohingya people. They want just a kind of recognition from the world as a government. As this military government led by Myanmar Online came to the power through the coup d'etat in 2021, February 1st. Now the entire people of Burma are suffering. They are fighting back against the military junta and brutal forces. The National Unity Government, Yushilawa, he said in September 7, 2021, to rise up with all available means and whatever we have against the military junta. And CRP, CDM, NUG, all are fighting against Burmese military junta and brutal forces. So the Rohingyas have no option except to fight back, to defend the Rohingya people for the restoration of the rights of Rohingyas and to establish justice and equality in Arakan. The Rohingyas have also to fight back. So this is the only option we have. It is legal and legitimized because other ethnic minority nationalities are fighting. Even our fellow countrymen, Rakhine and Mok, they are fighting in the name of Arakan army against the military government. So we the Rohingyas have the option only left is to fight back, to raise and rise up, because we have no other alternative option. So the only organization and the party, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, are fighting in jungle and forests of Mayu territory against the Burmese military junta. There are no other organizations or resistance forces inside Arakan except ARSA. So we all Rohingya people living scattered all over the world, we must have to unite, and we have to create a unique leadership representing all Rohingyas and embracing difference of opinion, unity in diversity concept. We have to unify ourselves. We have to become a united people, and we have to strengthen our defensive forces, and then everybody will listen to our word. So my message to the Rohingya population living inside and outside Myanmar, Arakan, to unite and to create a defensive force for the defense of the Rohingya people. So now we have one resistance movement in the name of Arakan Yakin, faith-based organization, because we have to believe in Allah Almighty, in the God, because we have no other persons to help us. We have to get spiritual inspirations to face their enemies and to fight back. The belief and unshakable faith in Almighty God is the basis of our strength. By this way, collecting the materials we needed to fight back, we have to establish a defensive force. So each and every Rohingya has the responsibility to defend their mothers and sisters and the children and the disabled and elders. That's why it is our moral responsibility to help those who are inside Arakan fighting for us. This is a message I would like to convey to all Rohingya activists and leaders who claim to be serving the interests of the Rohingya people, to save the Rohingya people, to defend the Rohingya people, to establish Rohingya as a viable community that can stand all injustices and fight back and restore their rights and establish peace and harmony and progress in the soil of Arakan on the basis of peaceful coexistence in harmony and in belief of multiculturalism, multiracial society in Arakan state. Each and everybody, each and every minority, like Rakhine, Rohingya, Khmer, Mro, Ta, Kamui, Daina Chen, and others, all can live peacefully in Arakan state with similar rights without discrimination, disregarding race, religion, and color, and tradition and history. This is the call of the time that Arakan should be like before 200 and more years as hidden colony of Burma. We lost our independence and sovereignty in 1784. So this is time that we all people of Arakan unite together, respecting each other, embracing each other based on justice and equality. We have to fight back the occupying forces of Arakan, the invaders, to establish our glorious Arakan as independent and sovereign country. We all people of Arakan, including the Rohingya people, dream to restore our kingdom, to restore our independence, to restore our sovereignty, and we want to live in the world as a dignified nation of Arakan people. So this is my message not only to the Rohingyas, but also to other national races of Arakan, particularly the Rakhine, who are dignified, who are conscious, who are able to understand the situation. Particularly, I want to request the leaders of United League of Arakan and Arakan Army, Commander-in-Chief and Chairman of the ULA, Ushok Kemyanai, to understand the situation of the Rohingyas and to work together with the Rohingyas to talk to the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and make a combined forces and fight back the enemies and make Arakan a developed, prosperous, peaceful country. This is my message to the Rohingya people and all national minorities and Rakhine people of Arakan and Burma. And we want also, I want to request to Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, the resistance movement and freedom fighters of the Rohingya people under the Commander-in-Chief of Hafiz Ataullah Wamar Junoni to go forward with more energetic forces and inspiration to fight back the enemies, not to dishearten and not to become hopeless. We will win because we are victims of genocide. We are determined to restore our rights in our ancestral homeland. I am very much proud of those freedom fighters and the Commander-in-Chief of Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, who is a steadfast, ferocious, heroic, and inside Arakan, in the jungles of Mayu territory, they are passing through a critical situation for their struggle for the sake of justice, rights, equality of the Rohingya people. ARSA is not the enemy of any group. ARSA is not the enemy of any national races, any other minorities. ARSA is the not enemy of the Rakhine people. ARSA is a part and parcel of the Arakan population. They want to live peacefully in Arakan. And ARSA cadres, freedom fighters, they all are good people. They are not violent. They are not anarchists. They are not miscreants. They are not misguided. They are not violent pro, and they are not terrorists. So, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, it will succeed, surely succeed, to achieve their goal. May Allah bless all of Arakan freedom fighters, Rohingya freedom fighters, and long live the hero of Arakan, the spiritual, inspirative person, the guide, and the leader of his Ataullah Wamar Janoni, who has shown us the right path and guidance to live inside Arakan and to fight back the enemy with all available means what we have, even though it is limited. Not to surrender to the enemy, not to die as slaves. We are conscious people. We have every right, and we have the manpower resources, and we have all abilities to stand against the enemy. He is the one who started this struggle before 7 years ago. Most of the Rohingya people, 90%, are with Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and support this resistance movement. So we request the Commander-in-Chief of the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and freedom fighters to march forward and face the enemy and destroy any forces that want to wipe out the Rohingyas from the soil of Arakan. This is my message to Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. Thank you very much. Thank you, DVR team and the director Abdul Hai for this interview. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh again. Peace, blessing, and mercy of God be upon all of you. Thank you. Mohiuddin, Muhammad Yusuf, the president of World Rohingya Organization, based in America, registered in New York State. Thank you very much.
I think our viewers are understand your explanation, and I and all my team's members of DVR News would like to express many thanks to your honor, and we ask the Almighty Allah to bless you and let long life so that you can render your political and humanitarian service to the sacred cause of the Rohingya people. Now our interview is ended. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.